This was like our pandemic project, so to speak.
Yeah, we kind of just kept buying shit.
Yeah, just spending money
I love it.
on and it's fun. I don't know. It's fun. I'm all about the production, high production value.
Yeah.
It kind of, I mean, it does help to have the space and like have like the layout and the nice stuff because it makes it kind of easy to just once you're here, just kind of record something and
Yeah.
it's part of how we've like done it. So we've been doing this thing for like 3 years.
Yeah, we're about to hit 3 years on it. This will be like 141.
Is this a storage space that you rented?
Yeah, it's kind of a storage space that I used to rent.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think these were like people's band practice rooms.
Yeah, this
type
was a
of thing.
band practice space before we got it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we put all the soundproofing in, and then the guy whose band it was, he came through and saw it, and he's like, "Oh my god, we totally should have put the soundproofing in."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, evidently his shit was just echoing around.
So it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of feels like you're, you know, if you've gone in like a cave or whatever where it just echoes like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how this room was. And then like putting those up made a crazy difference, like way more than you would think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A lot less echoey and whatnot.
And then we also filled it up with shit,
Yeah.
which helped too.
I like the brick is doing a lot
Oh,
for
it's
me
definitely
right
real.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
That
for
took
real.
the
Like
longest
it's
to lay that.
to lay it out.
That
Yeah.
masonry, that was really hard
Masonry.
work.
There was an Italian technique we used. I
Yeah,
think,
no,
with
my
the
elbows still hurt. That was just so much effort.
it looks great.
It looks real when you're watching the video.
I know. I love how many people who have been guests are like, "Oh, this isn't bricks. It's just paper."
There was up until I pointed it out, I just didn't admit that I thought it was brick this whole time.
No, it's amazing what
Took you a
you can
minute
get off of Amazon these days.
Yeah. Is it peel and stick?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
You can see where we didn't cut that one perfectly.
Yeah, we used the sound panels to just kind of cover up some pretty shoddy workmanship by me.
Squeegeed them all on here.
I've been looking at wallpaper because I want to
Yeah.
move
Okay.
in like 8 months, and I've lived in my apartment for 1.5 years and still have stuff in boxes, but I can't.
I mean, if you're moving, just leave it in the box.
Yeah.
That's what I should do, but instead I'm like, well, no, because I've been putting this off, and this is my last chance to
Really unpack before
to
you
unpack
repack.
before I have to pack.
Oh yeah, that's,
and I wanted to do like peel and stick wallpaper. It's expensive though.
It is. This one wasn't too bad. I think it
was
was like
like $10 a roll though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This is close to $100 worth of fake brick, right?
yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not cheap either.
Yeah.
You need one. If you're gonna get it, you need one more roll than you think when you measure it out. Like you always, because like with this, we had to like match it up so that it, I mean, as best we could, and get a little squeegee. That's helpful.
And some masking tape.
Masking tape, yeah. So
helps
like
you
just,
like tack it up there while you go to peel it.
Yeah.
those would be our tips.
And like a friend.
and a friend.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah, it's really a lot.
And go slow. You can re-stick it a couple of times, but yeah, just like go slow.
So I've been thinking about doing wrapping paper
Ooh.
Okay.
I like that.
with, who knows if this if this works. There was a TikTok. It was an Instagram reel, but I'm trying to say TikTok
I
because
know.
I feel like it
I
makes
know.
me sound younger.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I'm like, I was reeling all morning. I mean, I was TikToking all morning.
Yeah.
I do the opposite. I'm just like, I'm not one of those kids, these young kids and their TikTok.
Oh,
You
I'm
know?
like, whatever the kids are doing, I wanna.
Nah, I don't want nothing to do with that.
I want people to think I'm a dumb kid.
Well, shall we officially
we
get
should
the
we
show
should
start.
going?
I love this.
So welcome to Size 10 Podcast. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to like and follow or whatever that button says. But we'll get the show going. So I'm producer Paul, and we'll let the host take over from this point.
I'm Nick Scalzone. You can find me on Instagram, Nick Scalzone Comedy.
I'm Bjorn RG. You can find me on Instagram. Actually, all platforms, Bjorn RG Comedy. But today we have an awesome guest. Very excited to have them in the studio. The very funny Tory Ward, everybody.
Hi.
Do you like our sound drops? We never warn people. We're like, oh yeah, we got a couple of sound drops.
No, I'm happy to pause for applause. That's great. You can find me on Instagram. Should I do that?
Yeah, do it.
Great. At Tory Ward. That's my whole name.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. You're
And
comedian?
on TikTok, right?
No, I haven't put anything on there. Oh, yeah, but yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
on TikTok.
That's where the young
Yeah.
hip people are.
And if you're cool, you'll know how to find me on there.
You're good at that. Oh, I love that. Oh man. Yeah, it's so you're moving or you're thinking about moving?
Yeah, thinking about moving
Okay.
to Chicago
Oh shit.
in 8 months.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, I am.
I'm
I'm scared to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Pulling the trigger is scary.
Oh,
But-
for sure.
Yeah.
Because have you mostly lived here then?
Yeah, I grew up on the coast here, and I lived in California for a few
Lincoln
years.
City? Is
Yeah.
that where you- okay.
Yeah. And then, and my grandparents lived in Portland and stuff. And then I lived in California for a few years in the Central Valley in the armpit of California.
Okay.
Bad pollution, great sunsets.
Can't
Those
have
kinda
one
go-
without the other.
They go hand in hand, you know. The
Yeah.
pollution really
Yeah,
Pinks up the
it
sky.
looks nice twice a day.
it does.
Yeah.
And then, moved back here and then started comedy. And so, yeah, I haven't really, this is where I grew up.
Okay.
So it's weird. The
Have you
idea
been
of-
to Chicago much or have you?
No, I never,
Okay.
What made you pick Chicago?
Other people are moving there and I don't want to be by myself.
Okay.
And,
That's fair.
and I heard they have good, a lot of stage time. That seems to be the pretty universal response. That there's a lot of good stage time, and I don't want to move somewhere and not be able to for comedy and not be able to do comedy.
I have heard Chicago's like a really solid stand-up market.
Yeah,
Isn't it like kind of the best outside of New York and LA?
I think so.
That's
maybe
kind of what I've heard is like Chicago is arguably better than LA in some ways. I've kind of heard too, because LA is like kind of famous people-y.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I've talked to people about who've moved there and talked about how there's no stage time at all in LA, but then people will just get crazy opportunities out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, someone you know has a writing job for someone famous, or you know, just crazy things happen out of the sky, but that you don't get the thing you love.
Yeah, you don't get to do that. There's like the shitty open mic part. I think that's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you can get those, but like there's no audience. It's not.
And it's pay to. I think even those
A lot of
are
it's pay to play.
Yeah.
Where it's like $5 to get on, or like I did a bringer show and I did not get to go on because I did not bring enough people. Enough people showed up. Not enough people actually showed up.
Like
So I
you
didn't get to
invited
go.
enough people, but then they didn't show up, so you didn't get to go up.
Yeah.
Damn.
I misunderstood the homework.
And so then the people who did show up, did they stay and watch everybody else?
No, we left.
Good.
We all left.
Yes.
Good.
Boo that place.
The Comedy Store.
Oh, I mean, that's a great place.
The Comedy Store made you do a bringer show?
Yeah, there's bringer shows. They have like 4 stages. Like
Yeah, but I thought they were all sold out all the time.
no,
Oh.
no. There's
Maybe
weird
it's
bringer
the cellar
shows
that's,
there too.
The cellar in New York is the one that's always sold out all the time.
I think
apparently.
so.
Did you live in?
I lived in Vegas, so
Okay.
there's kind of like a lot of access to that stuff. So like people would go there, like, and then my sister lived in LA, so like I've done a bunch of random ass shows in LA. The shows in LA that you can get on really easy are those like weird premise-y shows
Okay.
that nobody wants to do.
Okay.
Where they're like, all right, you're going to get the set list 5 minutes before you go
Sure,
up.
yeah.
And then just fucking bomb.
Yeah.
You can get on those super easy.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I've done a bunch of those, but I've barely done any of my actual own stand-up. I've done a bunch of improvised stuff and improv. I've done improv there a bunch, but I've not done any real stand-up in LA.
Tory, have you traveled for comedy and like done comedy in other cities?
No. I should. Well, okay. I went on vacation to Miami, and I did comedy while I was there, and that was really interesting and fun. It was fun because, well, everyone in Miami is hot.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm from. So
So hot.
We're gonna go there in a couple months.
Are you really?
yeah.
It's so I loved it.
My cousin lives there, and she's graduating from medical school. So
Oh, that's awesome.
we're gonna go there to celebrate that. And they're all like, "Oh, you want to do some comedy?" I'm like, "I'm going on vacation. I'm not gonna."
Yeah.
I've been to Florida a bunch, and I've never done comedy there because I'm like, I don't want to waste a day of worrying about a set.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't.
So
Well-
were you down there just traveling and just?
Yeah, so I was down there with Elena. You guys know Elena.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to go down there and just like decompress and hang out on the beach.
Okay.
And so went down there with her, and the comedy was wonderful because it was terrible comics and wonderful audiences.
Wonderful. Oh, okay.
And or at least eager audiences.
So
Yeah.
it was like anybody
Hungry.
that had some semblance of a joke was going to murder.
Oh yeah, so you're
Nice.
just watching all these comics bomb, and they're just like, "Oh, these fucking hot, these fucking," and you're like, "Oh, just put me at like, put me in."
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so fun.
and then it's funny because everybody there is hot except for the comics. They're schlubby. Like you could spot them from a mile away.
You could see him coming. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy's funny, huh?
This
Yeah.
guy.
This guy
definitely
had to
took-
get funny.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I was in a recovery program in Orange County for a month, and I did stand up there because so there's like inpatient and you can't leave, right? And then there was like intensive outpatient, but we stayed in these like shared housing apartment where there was like one of the apartments had the people who like watched out for us, and so we could like leave, and then when we came back we had to have like our mouths swabbed to make sure we
Oh.
hadn't like drank or anything, because if we
Okay.
did we'd be kicked out of
Yeah.
that, and you had to like sign out to leave. And so I was there.
Sounds like high school.
Yeah. It's, to be honest, like after doing that I'm like, it's insane that every college dorm isn't that way, considering like all the horrible things that happen in college because of alcohol, like and all the money that's wasted. They could just swab kids and it like that could be it, and then it'd be solved.
MIPs all around.
Yep.
Like,
So I did stand up. Then I went to a bar and did comedy, and I felt bad because I was in there because I was gonna off myself. But most people were in there because of alcohol, and they all came to a bar to watch me and did Diet Coke the whole time.
oh wow.
Which was, I was like, I thought that was really cool,
That's
actually.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But they were kind of disruptive audience members, and
So Miami set went better.
yeah. Well, the rehab set went pretty good, but
Oh.
I went to this. So I went to this open mic, Orange County. Went to it 3 separate weeks, and I was like, well, I won't ever see any of these people again ever. And then I did a Zoom show over the pandemic. So this was like 3 years later, and one of the hosts was the host of the mic. And I was like, oh, I met you in rehab. And he's like, I've never been in rehab.
That's awesome. It's so funny you bringing that back, because I did inpatient rehab a few years ago too, and I forget the majority of it, but one thing I do remember is actually the comedy of it, because we did skits.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And it was kind of like a show and tell type thing. So we'd get our roommate or partner up with somebody, and I remember we did a Wayne's World skit. And it was just there's this coolest guy who looked exactly like Garth, and I was like, we have to do that.
Yeah.
And comedy was like a highlight of that experience, was just making fun of the what it was.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that just kind of like brought back a lot of like emotions, and like, because it's been a while since I've thought about that, and it was really important.
Yeah.
So
It's cool too how fun and silly people can be when it's like an environment where you've been stripped of so many social indicators.
Yeah.
Like so many things that we use to leverage ourselves over each other.
Yeah.
And then with something like that where you're doing skits, we did a self-esteem hip hop dance class.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
It's like
love that.
then you're doing this thing that requires a lot of humility. There's so much, and it's just awesome kind of when people let go of all of how much social leveraging we have.
Yeah.
How funny and creative people are.
It was the funnest talent show I'd ever been a part of.
Yeah.
And it was just so, like, we literally had probably an hour to put it together. And it was so entertaining, and I felt like I just forged so many great instant friendships just by doing that with people I would have never in my life. And it's like, it's almost like, and I appreciate that we're going here with this, because this is not where I thought we'd go with this, but I kind of wish everybody had that experience.
Yeah, I had the exact same thought going
Everybody
out of it.
should go through that.
Yeah. And all the like therapy and counseling and stuff you go through is like, so I was like at the end of it, I was like, wow, so people who aren't fucked up, who don't go to these places, like they get all of this stuff, and the instructor's like, no, like most people don't do. Like you're doing work most people don't do.
They never get the experience of even realizing that they need to work on that, because we just happen to take these paths that put us in that position. Yeah. So it's crazy. Like, so we've got the edge that a lot of people don't have. So I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's interesting. Like, I haven't been to rehab, but I have been doing therapy for like 3.5 years. And like in the past year or so, it's like really clicked at a new level, and it's made me way more empathetic to like a lot of people. And like, especially like I'd be talking to like my sister, like they'd be complaining about our mom, and I'd just be like, you got to remember, mom's just been believing all of her thoughts for 65 years. Yeah. Like, all those thoughts don't go through a filter of, this is, is that really a true thought? Or is that just I don't like that on the surface thought. Right. you know? Yeah. Or is that just an intrusive thought that keeps coming back? I'm like, mom's a lot like us. She's a little fucked up, but mom went to therapy twice and it didn't fix her right away. So she stopped going. Yeah. A lot of
instant results.
A lot of the stuff we do now, people did, it was shame. People were shamed for doing it. It was like shameful to do that type of work on yourself.
Yeah,
I know.
You didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Like it was.
I'd encourage everybody to go to therapy 100%.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like you have more empathy now too, after going through that experience?
Ooh, I don't know. I should probably work on my empathy. But I definitely have more appreciation for how cool people are. Yeah. If once you get to know them, because being in an environment where you're forced to get to know each other in levels that you would normally keep hidden
and share things. So like I shared things with people that I had just met earlier that week that I'd never shared with anybody before, and it would like breakdown stuff, and it was so powerful, because then it was like, oh, I'm stripped of everything. Yeah. Like I'm like down to the bones and you're down to the bones, so we
to just kind of take all the ego out of it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of it, is taking the ego out. It's impressive how talented people are, funny people are,
vulnerable people are.
Yeah, and how resilient people are. When you hear all the shit people have been through, you're humans make fun of each other all the time for like how weak and dumb we are and stuff. But then when you realize like the amount of stuff we all just also figure out, like, is insane.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of vulnerability in your comedy. Do you feel like that was helpful? Like going through that experience was helpful for you? That?
Oh, I don't know.
I think because I've always been all comics to rehab.
Honestly,
just to find out.
I've always been so inspired by how vulnerable you are always on stage, where there's just like I love it, and it where it's like you bring us all to this point that we all are afraid to go to. I feel like sometimes, and I always love that and commend you for that. Like, it's so good. And like I've had this like with me, if there's something that I'm afraid to say on stage, this has come to bite me a couple of times in a bad way. But most of the time, if I'm uncomfortable about saying it, I'm like, that's the thing. That's usually the meat of what I need to be talking about. Occasionally, it's like, no, Bjorn, you need to learn something. You need to stop. But most of the time, that is exactly the point. And I've always felt that with your comedy, which is why I'm such a fan.
Oh, thank you. I feel like lately I've been getting a lot safer, and I need to be better being uncomfortable. I don't think it was. I think it was going through, like you go through something shitty or like kind of earth shattering or whatever. You're maybe earth like reality, like it jolts you. You're it's almost like you're in a state of being kind of on drugs a little bit, and so you don't have maybe the boundaries that you have when that you would normally have,
Right?
And so you're able to. So because of that, you're doing jokes. You're like, well, I'm gonna talk about shit that I shouldn't talk about, and it's not because like it's just because you don't realize even in the moment because you're kind of crazy that you shouldn't be talking
like
about
filter's
it.
been the veil's been lifted.
Yeah.
A filter where you're just like, it's just coming out of me.
Yeah.
I found that so successful until I didn't. And then I was like, all right, now I gotta like think about stuff just a little bit more.
I've had audience members call me out during a set and be like, don't talk about that. And it's like,
really?
I've internalized it. And then the next time I went up, I was like nervous
and like hesitating
But
a
it was
little
like
bit.
your personal experience and they didn't want to hear about it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it was, I don't know.
I've seen a decent amount of your comedy, and as far as I would say, just tell them to go fuck themselves on that.
Yeah. I need to work on that.
I haven't seen anything you said be offensive. It was vulnerable and it was like personal, but it wasn't like nothing about that could be offensive to anybody really.
One thing that I think the rehab surprisingly made me less, and I don't think it's empathetic towards, but it's made me it made me kind of roll my eyes a little bit about when we were really big on trigger words or trigger warnings or trigger stuff of like, and people being like, well, I have trauma. Because I was like, dude, everybody has fucking trauma. Like everybody has wounds. Like,
should I tell her about the girl from
Bjorn
from
triggered
Bozeman?
somebody super hard.
Oh,
he
no.
told a really super offensive
I
joke.
have this silly joke
It was
where
really on him.
I talk about I literally just sing Mr. Boombastic by Shaggy as a punchline, and this woman pulled me aside and was like, that was very triggering for me because my parents would always have sex to that.
That's so funny.
No, but this woman evidently was inconsolable, crying. Other people were taking care of her because Bjorn's
Her and her friends had to go to
hurtful
the
joke.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Just because I sung a couple of bars from the song.
That's fantastic. See, I think that's the thing is that I think that's how triggers actually work. Like, is that it's a weirdly specific, you know what? It's not like, oh, someone says cancer and I'm reminded of my dad having cancer. It's like
I got a whiff of vinegar and I'm reminded of this disgusting meal from like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. Or it's like from the, like he had like cream soda, like was like the last thing he drank before he died.
Yeah.
He was like, and then he went, ooh, that's creamy. And he said his dad was like this random thing, but like, when I see cream soda, dude, I think of it every time.
You can't not.
Yeah, but they're always, I feel like they're weird, specific things that are the things that kind of pull you back.
I had, there was this boy that I secretly had a crush on all through college. I didn't admit it was a crush until later. I was like, oh, this is a crush.
Yeah.
I was walking my dog yesterday and somebody blew, and I hate that I know exactly this, Marlboro Reds in my face, and then I thought of this boy that I was crushing on. I was like, oh,
he was always
some Marlboro Reds.
He was smoking Marlboro Reds all the time.
Smoking Marlboro Reds for sure.
He is.
And I was like,
terrible taste, dude.
I came home and I was like,
It's kind of a
I was like,
trashy
babe,
cigarette.
I think I want to start smoking cigarettes. Let's start with Marlboro Reds. That's because some guy blew it in my
That's why
face.
you said that.
That's why he said that.
Because I was like, that's random. Because I recently quit cigarettes, and he was like, I was like, okay,
smoking.
interesting. but I think you said something really interesting there about like everybody has trauma. Like everybody's experienced trauma in different shapes and forms, and it is interesting how people get triggered over
Right. Well,
certain things.
I feel like it's weird how we've decided that a handful of things are triggering.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh no, these are the things. These are the words that trigger people with these events. When I feel like actually like those words, people are mostly like, people are pretty desensitized to, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's like usually something specific is the thing that, or a smell.
Yeah.
Smells are the worst, dude.
Smells are,
Smells will pull you right back.
Oh yeah, that like goes right to that memory
it's
part
like,
of your
it's
brain.
like a lizard brain sense type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then it's like, I don't know. It's almost like we kind of agree on, it just feels like it just felt like this weird thing of like, so everybody has these deeply personal experiences that, and some people way worse than others, you know, absolutely. And people of different groups are more prone to have had worse experiences than others.
Yeah.
100%. But it's weird. It's just weird how we were like, so we've decided that these are,
we're not going to talk about them.
yeah. But then nobody sat and was like, so, but what if mine is when somebody sings, what song is that?
Mr. Boombastic.
Mr. Boombastic. Like, what about Mr. Boombastic, lady? Like, no, but like, and I never heard a discussion for that. Like,
Yeah,
what
you're
about, what if yours is a weird thing?
We are, for one person in the world, we're having the most toxic conversation ever. We're just like, fucking Mr. Boombastic, what a pussy. Like, we're just being,
Yeah. So it's just that, it just felt, I don't know.
Well, it's like, I don't know if this is interesting or what, but like every time I drive by like a car accident and I smell the smell of airbags, the last time I was in a car accident comes back to me. Like it's like a very, that is very triggering. Like whenever I've gone by a car accident, I'm just like, don't think about.
Yeah.
Like, because when I was a kid, my dad and I hit a deer going like 80 in Montana and totaled his car, and the airbags went off and everything, and it was really scary. And I'm brought back to that moment every time I smell the smell of airbags.
Well, you should pull over immediately and tell them, how dare you get in an
Yeah.
accident.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
just be like, those airbags.
How dare you
How
getting your
dare you
airbags
buy
to
a
deploy?
top safety pick, you fucking
And
asshole.
side airbags, you bougie bitch.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, does your neck hurt?
You should have thought about me and bought an old car with no safety features. You should have done the caring thing and just died.
Fuck your Volvo.
So I do want to kind of turn it a little bit.
Yeah.
Tim McGraw.
Yeah.
So so we were looking at your Instagram, and we saw this awesome picture of you by a horse. And
Oh boy.
and then I read it, and it was you were on the Tim McGraw Facebook fan group.
Oh, it wasn't. This was before Facebook.
Okay, do tell.
Oh boy. That's so funny because just the other day I was like, I should delete that.
We're glad
So glad you didn't.
So like you had to wait for the internet to go like beep boop boop. Like someone had to
Yes.
get off the phone for you to be a Tim McGraw fan.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And dial up. I think it was after dial up, but we still had dial up because they would have had to get a satellite to have.
Yeah, no,
Was
that's
that when DSL that came out after that?
maybe. I don't know. My family had dial up till like 2010.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like we might have been.
Yeah.
We grew up in rural places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had dial up. It was a God, I don't even know how I found it. It was a chat room or like a forum. It was like a Tim McGraw fan club forum.
Okay.
And then we would all log on and chat.
Like MSN? Messenger?
Yeah, at a certain time. And we
Yeah.
would all get on. And I remember when I got a headset, that was like a huge deal. Because then I could like talk. Because I was in love with, obsessed with Tim McGraw.
Paul, can you pull up a picture of
I can just show you the tattoo on my back. Tim McGraw. Oh my God.
I need a visual aid for this.
mean,
one.
Wait,
boy.
what's his? He's a country singer, right?
Yeah.
Married
What's
to
his?
Faith Hill.
What's his hit song?
Okay.
That neck picture,
Oh
dude.
my God.
Look at that. Is that a camo shirt or just a
That's
really distressed
That's
shirt?
a camo deep V.
Oh, we're doing images. We're
deep
gonna go to
V.
images.
We need to bring back the deep V.
Oh,
Big
I
neck
Only if
deep
it's
V.
camo. Only if
Oh.
it's camo, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what?
I mean, he's a good-looking fella. Looks better than I do.
I mean, the
The
early
belt
2000s.
Yep.
He was my showerhead nozzle masturbation material back then. So
I didn't know about shower heads then. If I had, this would have been a
different.
different.
It would have been
Okay,
named Tim.
what's Tim McGraw's top song? What's his like?
There's a
white T-shirt.
white T-shirt where the green grass grows. Cowboy and Me. Ooh, he did this.
That sounds a little gay. That sounds like he was experimenting.
Cowboy and Me.
That
Yeah.
does sound
Call me up,
familiar.
Tim. Call me up.
There's Red Rag Top, which is about an abortion. He got
nice.
in trouble with that one.
That's wait, is it pro?
Oh, I
abortion?
like it. I love it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
like
know
it.
that
Oh,
one.
that's the one I
I
know.
like
Yeah.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
I want some more of it. Yeah, I remember that song. That was on the radio. Probably a lot of these that I would
He
know.
did
if I
a
heard
song
them.
with Nelly too.
Oh, he did. Yeah, did
Wait,
he?
he did
Yeah.
one with Nelly?
He did a
I
song
thought
with
it was
Nelly.
Florida Georgia Line that like collabed with Nelly.
I think
They
about
did
it
as
over
well.
They did a
and
whole
over
record.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also in he was Sandra Bullock's husband in that one movie about the football player.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he's gone into the acting route. Anyway,
Wow.
so
Oh, and he was in Friday Night Lights. He was an alcoholic.
that's
Ooh.
right.
Alcoholic dad in Friday Night Lights.
He's really in our pop culture.
Yeah. So I was in love with him, obsessed, and so I joined this group of equally obsessed women from across the country, most of them
Nice.
middle aged.
And
I-
probably some gay men.
Yeah.
Some secretly gay men.
I mean,
Catfishing.
come on.
So then while I was there, I became really good friends, and I lied about my age to them. I said I was like 2 years older than I am.
Okay.
And I
What was the age that you said you were?
So I think when I finally met the one lady, I was 16, and I think she thought I was 18. So I think I did 2 years over.
Okay.
So I think maybe I was 14 and said 16,
Okay.
and it's lasted 2 years, and became really good friends. Talking friends with this woman named Robin, who was this heavy-set lady who lived in Texas with her boyfriend. She was in her 30s. She had long bleach blonde hair. And so we would talk every night, and she would tell me about her life, and I would tell her about the life I imagined a cool 16-year-old would be having.
Oh no!
Were you like just got done with the bar? I'm so drunk. Totally made out with my teacher. Oh my gosh.
I remember at one point being like, my dad got me a car for my birthday, and I don't even really like it that much.
You were living your sweet 16
Oh,
fantasy.
So were you just like watching episodes of TV shows about teenagers that were rich or something?
No,
and
I
being
was
like,
just so this gets a little sad. So I didn't have any friends, and where we lived, so we lived out in the country, and we had, so it was this house, and there was like this basin that the house, like, so where the house and the property was, and then we were surrounded by these logging roads,
Okay.
and the teenagers would go and have parties that I wasn't invited to out in the logging roads. And I would be in my room alone listening to the echoes of parties.
Oh, people having more fun. than
Yeah. So I would just describe what I imagined they were doing.
you. You're just like,
What were can
Yeah,
we get
what
some
were they
samples? I want a sample
Well,
of
I was very promiscuous.
Okay.
Number one, I made out with a guy I didn't even remember his name.
wow.
Oh shit.
I smoked pot.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. Did
You're
that.
a real rebel.
Yeah, real rebel. So she and I talk every night. Slowly, I fall in love with this woman. And then she would send me CDs, and then I sent her Blink-182 CD, which she didn't like at all, and we would like write each other back and forth. And I slowly realized I was completely in love with this lady, but also in love with Tim McGraw still. Oh.
Yeah.
It was
you had a choice to make.
Yeah, it was a love triangle.
Yeah.
We're in a love triangle.
Yeah, because she was also
in love with Tim McGraw. Yeah.
That was your
So you
pivot
guys
point.
really had what could have been a throuple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then eventually I met her at a show. I touched Tim McGraw's boot. And then I feel like I just stopped talking to her after that. I feel like it all
stopped when you actually got contact with.
Yeah.
Because then it was real. He was real.
When you touched his boot, was it just like you were just like I just
and then
not feeling
and
it?
then
There
I was like
just wasn't the
I was like, oh,
electricity?
it's just a boot. He's just a man. I'm 16.
I'm so glad we went down this road. That was the most fun.
Down Tim McGraw before we. Oh my god, I love this so much.
So did you move on to another celebrity?
Yeah.
Who was next after Tim McGraw?
Well, this one's embarrassing. Did you guys ever listen to the band Bright Eyes?
Oh,
Totally.
Brandon.
Connor Oberst.
Okay.
And then I also fell in love with the girl who introduced me to Bright Eyes.
You're into fans of music, and I love it so much.
Her name was Megan.
Does that make you a fan girl?
Oh, I was so in love with him.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like everybody in Portland.
Yeah. Yeah. Is this why you
look
moved to
look
Portland?
at that. Hairy belly, hairy chest.
Well, so my time is the young that
one.
Connor Oberst.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Bright Eyes.
That was I was so in love with him.
That's a moment in time.
Yeah.
The Bright Eyes.
And she was also kind of dumpy and had shark teeth. She was a real bitch. I should have stuck with the
I love it so much.
The lady from Texas.
Yeah,
she was a sweetheart.
Yeah. Yeah, but I lied to her, man. I lied to her. It was all a sham.
Yeah.
And I think I also realized if we continue, I feel like it wasn't so much me seeing him and meeting her as her meeting me. Because I feel like part of it was that when I talked to her, I got to be this thing that I wanted so badly to be.
Which is a lot to keep up.
Yeah. And then when I met her, it was like, even keeping it, like, it was still just like, oh, well, now she sees that I'm me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's almost like you were like kind of catfishing.
Yeah.
Like you're like barely, you're dipping your toes.
Yeah.
You weren't like a whole different person. You were just like a fantasy of a person.
Yeah.
That you wanted to be. And then she's going to see the reality of it.
Yeah.
And it's not like completely shocking, but it is. Yeah.
That because I was like also visibly like kind of a loser. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know how to dress. I didn't dress quite like bad like whatever. And she didn't care. She obviously wasn't like, oh, I thought I was meeting a cool, hot high schooler. What's this? Like, that'd be weird.
No, I remember that because I definitely always felt like a loser in high school, like those ages too, and college. And arguably still now. But like I've definitely like felt like a loser and then like more recently realized like, oh, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody's thinking about it as hard as I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it's not real.
Where I'm just like, oh, they'll see right through me. They'll know everything.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah. So I get that. Like you couldn't keep up this fantasy person that you thought you had to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's why. So we met on online dating. It's the most boring. It's like people are like, "How'd you guys meet?" And we're like, "Fucking Tinder." Like everyone, just whatever.
I think you need to explain that Tinder as
gay Tinder is a little different.
Oh wait, was it
Tinder
actually
like,
Tinder?
It was actually
But
Tinder.
gay Tinder, from what Bjorn told me, is basically eHarmony. It's like
it's
very
pretty much
wholesome.
it's pretty much plenty of fish for gay men.
Because it's opposed to it's
'Cause
opposed to Grindr.
Grinder,
Yeah.
where you just get
or
cocks.
any of the
Cocks
other
and
Cocks
whole
just
shots.
come out of the
opportunities.
phone, I think.
Like
from what
literally
I've been
in a
told.
3D
park
phones are great.
just down the street from here.
Yeah.
I was on Grind. I had a profile on Grindr and notifications on, and I was walking my sweet baby boy dog, my pug, and someone took a picture of me and said, "You got that hefty dick I can suck."
Whoa!
Took a picture of me in the park walking my
So
dog.
creepy.
And I was like, nope. And I deleted the app and I walked home. I was
Oh
like,
my god!
I can't handle this. It's creepy as shit.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I don't know what to say to that. I mean, my first response was like, nah, I got
feel
one
like
of those
no is the correct
like,
answer.
it's
to that
hefty
person.
dick.
Yeah.
I think Grindr
like
is
that
very
you're less
singular in its
concerned with
purpose.
the-
It's just
with the
sex.
Yeah.
stalking, and more concerned with the wording here.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned with the photo.
The photo.
The
photo-
photo.
the
The photo
the
is.
vocabulary doesn't really enter
I'm
in
like,
until
this
way
is a
after the
picture
photo.
of me right now. I don't like this
Well,
at all.
and also like the purpose of sending the picture is like I'm watching you, like
This
because
is
you
like,
could
I'm gonna
you.
creep you into letting me
Yeah.
suck your dick. That's
You could-
never worked.
you could just say hi, I want to suck your dick,
Yeah,
but instead
that
he
would have
was
been
like,
less creepy.
yeah, but instead he's like, you don't know where I am, but I know where you
It's
are.
like I'm up in a tree.
Yeah,
Look
it's a
over and you're just
raccoon.
like, no.
Like,
All he
Jesus
needs is a
Christ, dude.
scream mask at this point. Just,
yeah.
I'm like, I'm for sure getting murdered. I better leave this
Oh
park.
my god. Oh, that's so creepy. Do you think he thought he's being kind of creepy, or do you think he thought like, ooh, this is gonna?
This is cute.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll think this is
this
cute.
will be the cute. This will be a great story to tell our grandkids.
Yeah. So how'd you meet your husband? Wow.
Well, I took a picture of him. I was hiding in a tree, and I took a picture of him walking his
Hiding
dog,
in
and
a
he didn't
bush.
know about it.
But I feel like stories like this are not uncommon on Grindr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just like you log on, you kind of expect a little bit of that creepiness, but that's why I went to Tinder, and I was like, I'm ready to settle down. I'm going on Tinder.
Tinder.
Yeah, it's basically
Which
Christian
apparently is
mingle.
kind of like
Yeah.
like the Grindr for
Straight
everybody
people.
else. For yeah.
But I don't know.
I think it's the sleaziest of the straight apps.
Yeah.
Or it's like the one where the most hooking up happens. Not to me, but it happens to some people on there.
This is probably a generalization, and stop me if I should
No,
stop
you should
talking about
definitely
this.
generalize things.
But it seems like, from my experience with like dating and dating culture and talking to people, that there's like, straight guy dating horror stories, which are like, I hate it when women talk. And then there's like,
It is,
and then there's like, straight women dating horror stories, that are like, oh, that's fucking terrifying. And
Where
then
it's
there's
just
like,
you're lucky to have survived.
yeah,
that
and
guy
then
was
there's
a
like
maniac.
gay men dating horror stories that it feels like it's like Eli Roth film.
Oh my
It's
God.
fucking
100%. There's
horrifying.
been times I've woken up after a strong hit of poppers, wondering where the hell I am and
Yeah.
who are these three guys around me right now.
Oh my god!
I've had a couple of times
Yeah.
where I'm just like, Bjorn, what? Were you or not? Oops.
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
it's very questionable. No, honestly, it's questionable some of the scenarios we find ourselves in. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm on all fours behind a Denny's by a dumpster. What is going on right now?
Yeah, Paul, have some class and go
It
to
is-
IHOP.
I thank you.
Yeah. It is all you can eat. No.
No, but on a serious note, you hit the nail on the head. We are more open to situations where if I was a woman,
There's no way.
I would be. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to meet you at the park at 2:00 in the morning and do some crazy stuff in your car, and I have no idea what you look like.
What
Yeah.
was your room number again?
Face down, ass up, just walk in. No,
Oh my
it's
God.
very. We're very.
Receiving loads from 4 to 5.
No, it's just crazy. It is crazy.
Is there a
Sorry, Mom.
do you feel at all like there's a because it's not something that's like maybe like talked about that much, other than like it's crazy that there's less of a okay, maybe this is do you feel at all like, because like Me Too was all like very focused on women. Do you feel like gay men got left out of that at all, or that that is addressed, like or do you feel like men feel more permissive towards other men with like not making sure that they are like cool with boundaries or comfort, or is this or should I not ask?
No, I just want to know.
It's a good question.
I think that it's just not talked about, period, with gay men specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I without going too deep into it, I mean there are times where I was just, was that or wasn't it, like, because it is like we're
where you set a boundary.
We're still autonomous people,
Yeah.
and if I say no, I say no. But then it's a great point, because I think it's underreported.
It's just
and people and you don't like it's not talked about enough, and I bet it happens. It happens more often than we probably think. But it just isn't. It isn't a forefront discussion.
Right.
When you're gay, it's like, yeah, someone cut you off. I probably should have honked at them, but I didn't.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I should have flipped them off and told them what I thought, but I was like, you know what? We didn't get in a car accident. It's okay. That would be my best way to describe it. That's so fucked up.
Well, it's
but like, there's
Yeah.
been situations where I was just like, I set a boundary, they crossed it, and then I was like,
well,
like,
and same with Me Too.
it ended up okay, kind of.
Oh, I like that's kind of what the whole Me Too like thing was. I think for like was that because I've had that situation a bunch. Was just like, oh no, you can't do that. Like you can't. That's not okay. You can't. But no, the exact like, oh, I should have honked. But whatever, it happened. I'm here. I'm fine. I'm not dead. So
yeah.
You
no,
know,
that happened, and it's happened to me where I've said no in the middle of it, and then wasn't heard. And then I talked myself into thinking, well, I mean, I did invite him over here, and I am naked. So
right, yeah.
What did I expect?
Yeah.
And I've talked about it with friends, but I've never talked about it in that context.
Yeah.
So that tells me alone right there that no, it's not something that, it is something that is important to talk about.
Yeah.
That would be same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Because it happened to 2 out of the 2 gay men in this room right now. So
Yeah.
that's 100%.
But it's like nobody got hurt. I guess we'll just not. Maybe eventually we'll talk about it, or eventually it won't be. But you know,
I wonder if it's kind of a tricky. Like I could see where it would be a tricky. Like it feels like there's been such a push to fight against, especially in like I feel like it was like worse in the past, like 80s and 90s, early 2000s, of like the stigma or image of gay men as predatory, like inherent. So then there's a push against, like obviously against that, but then it puts it in a place where it's like, okay, but men are predatory. So if you're dating men, you need to be able to, like anyone who dates men, we need to like
there'll be
have
a subset of them that are predatory.
Yeah.
So like,
and
even
so
if they're gay, like we need to call out the
so
guys that are being shitheads.
if we're talking about like having like rules with women, we need to include men as well. But of not wanting to like, ooh, maybe we shouldn't though, because that might. And
oddly enough, the few times that I've been in those situations, and this is just my personal experience, have been with down low men.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it should be talked about.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be talked about, because a predator is a predator regardless of sexual orientation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is like the deepest we've ever gotten.
Sorry,
I love it.
No apologies necessary, and I
this
fucking
is
love
great.
it. It's like, because usually we like joke around about like surface level. I love it, because it is something that does need to be talked about, because it isn't brought up enough, and like sometimes it is just like, let's just like make fun of how small our penises are or whatever, like but then It is a thing, you know, like and I can't even believe, like, the point I originally was trying to make out with it is like with meeting people online. I have a rule. I have to meet them within 3 days, because otherwise my brain will just make up a fantasy of who they are.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
And so I read that somewhere that like 3 days you need to meet them. Otherwise your brain is just going to
turn them into something.
Be disappointed.
Total fantasy of positive, negative, whatever. And you're just going to be disappointed.
Oh, that's really interesting.
And that's why we're so often disappointed. Like if we talk to someone for a whole bunch of days, we start to like build, our brain has to.
Right. You're filling in the blanks.
All the blanks based on the information they give. Which may or may not be accurate, or like, and you get so much from like visual cues, like small little ticks, little things, like the way they, you know, look or whatever, respond to things, and it's like, and you have to get that in a personal.
Sometimes it's just how they even say certain words can like allure you or push you away.
Oh yeah,
you know,
or like pheromones, like
or smells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3 days. That's my personal role.
So
like,
we met. I mean, like we set the date up. We chatted for 2 days, and we're like, okay, we got to meet.
Yeah.
And now we're engaged.
Where did you meet?
Well, we were gonna go to High Dive, which is where there's an open mic. No, it was like I like that space because I know the bartender and like we're cool, and I don't know. I was just like trying to set something up, and you said you lived in that neighborhood, so. But there was only like 4 tables.
This
and they
was
were
like
all
right
full.
when everything opened up, right after COVID.
It's like we both
So
got
everybody
vaccinated.
just
We're
got
like,
vaccinated.
all right, we're meeting people
Yeah.
in person. And so then we went to what's the other one called? The pig?
Lardo.
Lardo.
Oh, Lardo's so
I
good.
fucking love Lardo. So then we closed Lardo down.
Did you get food while you were there?
Yeah,
What'd
we got
you
like
get?
food, drinks, whatever.
Well, we had drinks and then we split fries because we were
Fries.
just talking the entire time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we're about to close," and we're like, "Oh my gosh." So
Yeah.
we closed it down.
I always like to do like bar dates because then it's like easy to get out if you need to, or like a coffee date or something like that, where like maybe have something scheduled for later so you have an out just in case, you know. And it leaves a little bit of like mystery and whatever of like, I think you should have like an end point to the date. Like, don't go to the coast. Drive
that's
to the
wild. That's wild. Yeah.
Could you imagine?
No, you're a fucking
go on a
lunatic if you propose that, and you're a lunatic if you agreed with it.
So you actually meant for each other if that was.
Yeah, or you're gonna kill each other.
Yeah.
You're going to dump each other in the ocean.
Yeah.
Let's
Then
go to
and there.
Cannon Beach. Like first date.
Joanna and I went to Cannon Beach for like our 8th date.
Yeah, that's fine.
reasonable.
But yeah, no, our first date I drove up there and we went to a brewery and we closed it down.
There you go.
But I went up there because I was like, I said, you pick the spot, you know, because that's what you do if you're a normal person.
I do remember I said a weird time and I just like accidentally wrote like, it's 2 things. I do like to put weird times because then people will be on time. I don't know if you know about that little trick. Say a weird time. If you want to meet someone.
Wait, what was the time?
It was like 6:17 or something like that.
Because the novelty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes you pay attention,
Yeah.
too.
You pay attention to
Yeah.
it.
So, but he accidentally typed 6:17.
I didn't
because he
mean
meant
to.
to type 6:30 or something. But as soon as I saw that message, I loved it right away because I work in sales and appointment times and those kinds of things. So when he said that, I was like, perfect. I'll meet you not a minute late, not a minute early.
Oh,
So
that's
6:17.
awesome.
So I went there. I think I got there like 6:10 because I walked over there.
Yeah.
I literally, oh no, I drove. And I sat in my car until I timed it out where I was like, okay, by the time I get there, okay, 1 minute, get out of my car, walk there.
Yeah.
And it was like 6:17 on the dot is when we met.
I was
That's
on
so
time
cool.
too. Like it's like if you put a weird time, people will be there. If you put like a normal, like,
If you say
An
6, it could be
o'clock.
5:45 or 6:45.
yeah, like
Yeah.
people could be. But when you put like a weird time, like an odd number, like it's
I'm never going to forget that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Put a weird time, and people will always be on time to meet you.
Yeah.
It's like a little weird hack that I have. We should. I mean, we barely talk about sneakers, but I am so
I
interested.
need to know about
Okay.
these.
I need to know about these Adidas that you have.
Okay.
Are these for boxing?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, okay. First of all, you box?
Yeah.
When did you start boxing?
I started a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I did a fight in July and I lost. And it It was against somebody else at my gym who also didn't have any fights. But it was like an official, like a sanctioned fight, like a real fight.
I wish
Like
I would have
you guys-
known. I would have gone.
Like you guys full on punched each other
Yeah.
like straight in the head.
to
Yeah.
knockout, or
Damn.
did you do
No.
like a
I don't think
points?
amateurs get. It's like by judge. Like the judges decide.
That's
who-
probably a good thing. I feel like you want
Not
to limit
to
the
knock
number
out.
of times you get knocked out.
I
in
don't
your
think
life.
women knock each other out very much.
Oh, that's nice of you guys.
Yeah.
That's a
Well, that's
thoughtful-
why. Yeah.
that's pretty thoughtful.
Yeah.
I've watched MMA fights and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That
No.
gets a little brutal.
We fuck each other's boyfriends and stuff like
Oh,
behind,
okay.
like their back. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that gives you. I
Yeah.
mean, it makes you sad. But
Like
you
we
don't,
still cause brain trauma.
right. But it's
we
not
just
the kind that you
Just
like.
not the physical, the
Yeah.
emotional kind.
It's not the kind that like makes you bad at comedy.
yeah.
you
No,
know?
it's the kind that makes you good at comedy.
Yeah, exactly. You get hit in the head enough times. Anyway,
So these are the adult Speedex 18 boxing shoe in pink.
Yeah. Signal pink.
I like those.
Yeah.
So what makes a boxing shoe a boxing shoe? Like, what are some things about these? Is it just because I see it's a high top.
Yep. So there's the high top is ankle support, and then it's flat. And I hope I don't get any of this wrong, but so because you don't want to, like, a lot of shoes will have like the heel, it's like kind of squishy. There's like but a lot of times with that it ends up kind of pitching you on your, so like running shoes or something, you're kind of pitched on your balls of your feet.
yeah, like pushes you.
Yeah,
forward.
and you don't want that because like so if you're like throwing a hard punch, you have kind of your weight in towards the back,
So
and
you want to be able to set like a stance.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you're like
okay.
sturdy.
Yeah.
And then
Can I see one of these?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I just washed them.
Okay, sweet.
Cool
But
that you can wash them.
yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to, but they smell bad, so I do.
No, any of the
They smell
knits.
good now. Yeah, we're good. No, sure. No, these are great. And then they're also, so they have a thinner pad on the bottom.
Yeah, and they're not I don't know if this, but I wore regular shoes in the ring the other day, and the traction was like gripping the fabric on the ring, like I kept getting stuck.
Yeah.
So they make the outsole for like whatever the boxing ring is.
That's what I'm guessing, because because you can move, like you don't get caught on the
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
yeah
Light like a butterfly.
yeah
okay.
yeah.
I have noticed that, like, if I'm wearing basketball shoes, and I obviously don't play basketball.
What?
But if I'm wearing them, I hear they squeak, like if you're at a basketball game. And you're like, oh my
Or
god.
a Target. Or
Now people are looking at me and they're like, this fucking guy in his shoes. But like,
I love
They
walking
do
around
make-
a Target in some Jordans,
I
It's
do
just like,
until I make a squeak, and then people look at me and they're like, dude, you couldn't dunk on like a kid's hoop. Like, what are you doing? So yeah, that's cool.
I got these during COVID, and
Okay.
so I went through a little reinvention, whatever, redefining the self, and this was also the cheapest color on there. So it was like this one and a gray one was the two cheapest colors, and I got that one was the other cheapest color. So I got the pink one because I was like, I've always just worn black, been in the shadows. I'm gonna get bright
Yeah.
bright pink.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then they're looking at your shoes
Yeah,
because they're bright.
And then they're distracted.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my self-discovery period ended, and I still have these shoes, and they're bright. People comment on them. They are, and I don't want to buy another pair. And then people are like, "Great shit." I'm like, "It was the cheapest color." And I just,
They're salmon.
it's like they're literally called Signal Pink.
Signal
like,
pink.
yeah.
Oh.
Like, well, no, I mean, like, they're meant to like send
Oh,
a
yeah,
like
totally.
be
Sig-
noticed.
signal
Yeah.
pink.
You know, they're pretty
Yeah.
bright.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it adds some novelty into the fighting.
I wish I could wear them because people will say they like them. So if I like leave practice or whatever, and then I'm like, oh, I have to like run to this grocery store, and people will be like, oh my god, like, great shoes, I love your shoes. And then I'm like, I don't have it to pull these off with like shorts, and because I was like, these could, and I'm like, I don't think you could. And then I asked Brandon Lyons, and he was like, no, you have just get regular shoes to wear when you're not boxing. And I was like, okay, I will.
It's like asking to wear your tap dance shoes to
Yeah.
the grocery store.
Yeah, it is. But if you love your tap team, why can't we just wear tap? Wouldn't the world be a better place?
I'm gonna push back on Brandon Lyons.
Yeah,
I
me
think you
too.
should wear whatever the hell shoes you want.
Yeah, I think so too. Own it. Like,
I would say the
wear
best
bright-
argument against it would be if they're really uncomfortable and hurt your feet.
No,
to
they're
walk
great,
around
and they
in.
provide wonderful ankle support.
Well, then you should fucking wear them every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wear them all the time. Maybe people won't fuck with you because they're like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Oh,
if
yeah.
they
They'll
know,
be like, she's literally wearing the shoes to kick
There's
my
a couple.
ass.
They're like, are those the signal pants? Holy shit.
Somebody
She
who's
means
like
business.
a shoe nerd and a boxing nerd, like the one guy.
That graph
Gonna
has
be
got
like,
two
holy
people.
shit, that's the adult Speedex 18, dude.
Oh, fuck.
Fucking the 17 sucked, but the 18 is fire.
So
You
what?
got 'em.
I don't know anything about shoes and shoe culture. Like I don't, and
Doesn't
shoe
matter.
nerds. I don't, but I want to.
it's all fabricated. It's all based on like things like clout, spending too much money. I mean, it's just like it's a lot like fashion.
It is, isn't it? Fashion.
It is
It
fashion.
is fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've never heard it just called fashion, but
That's
it's
what it is.
fashion.
fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fashion.
There's elements of nostalgia now in it too, because it's like all of these aging, these people that are getting older, and then there's all of these like retros. So there's a lot of like, oh, we're like
It's
doing
basically
a retro.
shoes from the late 80s and the 90s that they've just like continually made over and over and tried making new colors.
like
of.
when you see a group of kids right now that look like when the 90s were happening,
Yeah.
and you're like, those are young kids. What are you wearing? Are those Jinkos for real?
I saw Jinkos the other day.
Yes, I saw this group of young kids today on Burnside, and I was like, they're like 15,
Yeah,
and they
you see,
look
that's-
like everyone in my middle school. When
That's
I was
why
in
I don't
middle
fuck with
school.
TikTok. I'm not interested in that. That should stay in the 90s.
It's like nostalgia
trash.
mixed with fashion. Nick's wearing a perfect description of what we're talking about. So
Am
these
I?
are the
Oh yeah, I am.
blazers in a high fashion update. So there's 2 laces, 2 tongues, double. It's supposed to look like 2 blazers. Like, do you know?
No,
what
it's
the,
supposed to look like a blazer and a dunk, which are both.
Are those
Nike-
two different shoes?
Yeah,
two
they're
different
Nike
types
shoes.
of
The
shoes.
blazer came out sometime in the 70s,
Paul, can you pull up the blazer?
named after the Portland Trail Blazers, and the dunk came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
So it's 2 old styles of Nike shoe,
Of
and then
Nike shoe
they
combined
layered them
into
on top
one.
of each other
As like a fashion.
as an
thing.
art project.
And that's what Nick's
And then
wearing.
I'm wearing that art project.
That's so. This is your like if you saw something like this. This is like kind of the classic blazer.
Yeah, see, there's the low top model. Like that's
It's
similar
got the
to what
big
I'm wearing.
obnoxious Nike swoosh. The classic like, and if you look at the tongue on his, it's
Oh,
got
I
that.
like that one.
Yeah. So the blazer has come back in a big way. It has an exposed. It's got the like unfinished tongue. So they just sort of like they show the foam. They don't like hide. Like on mine, they're hidden, but on that one, you can see the foam.
Oh
that's
yeah,
underneath.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then it ages, so it gets like a little bit.
Kind of yellows. and
Yellow.
looks
Okay.
tattered.
And then here's the low, which is
And then this is a dunk. So this is another one that's just like it's just like a classic colorway or a classic silhouette.
Yeah,
that's
so what
gotten
they did
really
is
popular.
like this wobbly looking piece of leather, that's from the dunk. One of the swooshes is from the dunk.
Okay.
And it was like somebody layered them on top of each other as basically an art project. And then they
Sold it for more money.
sold it to me. And I paid
And it's
for
all
it.
it's all silly. And it doesn't.
Oh wait,
matter.
so somebody not Nike.
no,
Yeah,
Nike.
No,
Nike
Nike.
made that.
Okay.
Nike-
Nike,
Sakai.
but they
Collaborated.
collaborated with a Japanese fashion brand called
Oh.
Sakai.
Okay.
And Sakai like came up with the design, and then Nike made it, and they both put their names on it, and they both collected a check from me.
Okay.
From Nick.
Lots of players.
Yeah, yeah,
Lots
yeah.
of
Oh, yeah.
players.
A lot of people had their hands in the cookie jar that Nick.
7
was adding.
songwriters, 3 producers.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a Beyonce song.
It's like a Beyonce
Yeah.
song.
But then ultimately Nike Beyonce put it on.
Got it.
Yeah.
Their name, put it on the album, if you will.
So I know that there's always been a shoe like culture, but it feels like in the last decade, it's like everywhere. It's everyone.
Yeah.
It really went crazy in the pandemic.
The
I feel
pandemic really blew
2020
it up.
and 2021.
All those unemployment checks and spare
Yeah.
Pretty
time.
much. Like
Yeah.
everybody had a bunch of money all of a sudden and also had nothing to do.
Yeah.
And so they got real bored and found things to buy on the internet. And so shoes went crazy. And then in 2022, people ran out of money.
Yeah.
And so shoes really tanked. So if you're looking to get into cool shoes,
Now's the time.
Is now a
The
good
time to
time?
You can
Right.
buy them at MSRP or less sometimes.
It's kind of like the 2008 housing crash, but for things that have always been pretty worthless.
So do you buy them? Do you? Okay, so because summer is coming, and normally I have boots that I left them in Infinity Room. Normally I would just be wearing boots right now, and that has been my safe winter shoe. If I wear boots, no one's gonna think I'm lame. I don't have to worry about I got them at
they work with everything.
Yeah. I got them at the farm store. I got to pick the most practical kind, and they look great and whatever. But now summer's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can't wear boots in the sun. I don't know what to fucking do because everybody, and I've never even looked at people's. Now everybody's looking at shoes, and I don't.
So we're here to help you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So if you
And I
want to
have
come
a-
with us, we know exactly where to take you.
Really, where?
There is a store which we love, which is like it's approachable shoe fashion.
Okay.
It's called Dark Side Initiative.
Oh, yeah.
And
That would be a really
the
good one.
perfect store for somebody who isn't quite sneakerhead, but wants to have that style. And it's on Burnside. You hit us up.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll take
For
you.
sure.
Wait, for real?
For real.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
I'm
real.
so
Yeah, yeah.
excited.
Well, because they have really cool Vans.
They sell
have
Vans,
Nike,
Nike,
they have
and Adidas primarily.
and they have some cool stuff that's obtainable, but is also just a little unique. Where somebody will, cool.
Yeah.
shoes.
So like we could get you like a neutral pair of like a Dunk,
Okay.
which we were just looking at,
Okay.
which is like a classic. It's so weird. Like search for the Panda Dunk. It is one of the most popular and is the most basic.
I feel like you shouldn't get the panda.
But
No,
I
no, no,
would
no.
do the Panda.
I'm not saying.
Why
just,
shouldn't I get
no,
the
no, no,
Panda?
no. You could. It's just
Yeah.
a black and white shoe.
Yeah.
Why is it so expensive? You don't have to get this one.
Whoa.
But this is an example. It's just a black and white shoe.
But that's
It
not
goes
going
with
extinct.
everything.
Why is it $300?
Because everyone
knows?
it's
It's like
hype.
the shoe of the moment.
It's the one, but we could get you a different color. Maybe not one of those weird ones, but like one of these just random,
Yeah, like this one, like
normal-ish.
an easy, you could wear it every day.
yeah, that's like
Yeah, that one
weird
looks like Oscar the
moss.
Grouch.
Nice and basic.
You don't need like a moss one. You need just like any like what's like if you have some colors that you wear, just like a nice clean. Also, New Balance is like really hot right now. Which
yeah,
I
what's
still
up? What's
can't-
going on? I
I
have.
still
So there's
can't-
this white rapper with curly hair named Jack Harlow, and he wears them, and now they're cool. That's the
You-
very short version.
you
Is
don't
a
have
white
to get-
rapper with curly hair
It's
made New
What's up?
Balance cool again.
I mean, even
Wow.
it's just like the 996 or the 997s are like the most popular right now.
Or the
And they're-
990s.
The 990s are great. They're just a basic like you could put something like this on and you're
I have
cool.
like 3 pairs of New Balances at home.
Like-
Hell yeah.
Like
Just
this is
wear
a
'em.
pretty basic New Balance. and
Kyle
it's hot.
Adams' dad kept buying them for me.
Nice.
nice.
So I have a lot of them.
So you might not need our help. You probably
Yeah,
have
you
the
could
right
just-
kicks
Well,
already.
I want they're a fine shoe. They're a good hiking shoe. They have like a hiking grip on the bottom. So do Asics. Like a lot of them have like a almost like a
So what are you wanting? What kind
Yeah.
of shoes are you wanting?
I just-
Like what
I w-
style?
I want to look cool, and that's
So any retro Jordan,
Okay.
like a Jordan 1, Jordan 3, a 2 is a little bit of a stretch, I think. I mean, you could do a 2.
1,
what's
3, 4,
wait
5.
why
1,
is
3, 4,
why
5.
why is a 2 a stretch?
A 2 is kind of it's a bit of a move here. Pull it up.
I
It's-
actually think you can pull off. a
you could
Jordan
pull
as
it
well.
off. It's just harder to find and get. They don't make as many of them, so it would be a little harder to get. So it's a little more high fashion. It's not my favorite. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
So
not very comfortable.
how much of this is because like so my fear is go in, okay, so I have my exercise shoes, I need a walking around shoe, and then people sit and they talk about the shoe, and then I just buy a shoe, and then I show up, and then everyone's like, you have that shoe, and I'm like, I just picked one. Like, are there no-go shoes? Are there shoes that if I get, people are going to be like, you
right
picked?
now, Yeezys maybe.
Okay.
Like if you get a Yeezy, there's kind of it's like
You're going to have to
or a
lean really hard
Balenciaga,
into
but I don't think
saying
we
the
have to worry
trigger
about
words
that.
are bullshit.
Yeah.
Wearing the Yeezys.
Balenciaga. Paul said the Balenciaga as well because of the.
What's
Balenciaga recently had a little scandal with they had like some children and some S&M gear or
Ooh,
something like
okay.
that, and so they're sort of like low key canceled.
Okay.
So maybe not Balenciaga, but those are
But a
retailing at,
new
like,
high
$900.
fashion brand will fuck up next year, and then Balenciaga will
Then
be
they'll
back.
be back.
'Cause
So
pretty
maybe
much
get it
every
while
year,
it's cheap. I don't know.
Every year, one of the brands fucks up and
But
does
Nick,
something absurd.
What would you say is like a safe, like, kind
I
of
think
hyped,
there's-
not too expensive, but
I
like you
think,
could
like,
look like you appreciate.
Honestly, like blazers, like these, but less crazy. Or these, if you like them. Honestly, these are cheap as hell. Nobody wanted this
especially
pair.
here.
Like this exact pair, I think you
I
can
think
get
a
for
dunk
like
high would be
$70
great on you too. There's
They're-
some really great dunk highs out there.
yeah,
Wait,
various dunks.
what's that?
Blazers.
That was what we're
Okay.
sort of looking at. The
Okay.
dunk high, it's kind of it's losing its it was just like people were spending so much money on them, and it's just not.
This is like GameStop
It kinda
GameStop
is.
stock.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is just
It's about
not-
as likely to be worth something again.
so you might as well wear it.
So
And
not-
Ooh, I like that lady's legs.
They come with their shoes.
yeah,
They're
I think
gift
they
with
do.
purchase.
I think
Yeah.
they do. You don't have to shave your legs if you have these.
It's
Honestly, I would go into like the store they're talking about, or even go to like Index. Although Index is a little bit crazy on the pricing, but it could be worth going there and looking around and seeing like what styles you like.
Yeah, we'll take you.
okay. I
we'll
would
have
love
fun.
that. I would
Index
love
is
that.
cool because you can see all the different, like you can see the premium ones, but you can just kind of get a really good
Yeah.
idea of all the different shoes that are kind of hyped. Index is a resale shop. It's over in Old Town, and it's like people take in their limited shoes to sell on consignment. And so most of it's kind of expensive, but there's a lot of like rare shoes and
Oh,
kind
that's
of
cool.
fancy shoes that you can't just get at the store. And so it's kind of worth going through there, and you can kind of see what you like.
mean,
Air Maxes are cool.
Yeah.
Air Max might be a good way for you to segue from like, because it's still comfy. It's what Paul's wearing right now. It's still
Yeah,
kind of a
Paul's right
runner, but it's like a running style from the 90s, and they're kind of fashiony, and they're like a good segue from like Asics into
Okay.
We're
like
gonna make
sneakers.
sure you roll up in Chicago with
Yeah.
some heat on your
Okay,
feet.
thank
You're
you.
going to the Bulls
Yay.
territory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
you
gonna
might
have some
need some
Jordans.
Chicago
You're gonna need
Reds.
some Jordans.
You are gonna need some Jordans in Chicago.
Some red Jordans if you're moving to
Get
Chicago.
the Chicago's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
get
You
the
got like
Chicagos.
$5,000 you want to waste on one?
No,
Get
but
some
look 'em
Chicago
up.
ones.
The Chicago Jordan ones. Yeah, if you're in Chicago, you can wear like that's the nice thing about here is you can wear red Jordans, and it seems like I'm a Blazers fan. Hey.
Yeah, get those right there.
These are so expensive.
How much are they?
They're so silly.
38.
Well,
1,000.
those ones are from actual 1985.
Those are the 1985
Holy
ones.
shit.
So this would be like the original production run from 85.
Mhm.
And then these are the
So-
off-white ones.
Oh, yeah,
which
those
are
ones-
silly.
But you can get
But
them
yeah,
for,
if you had 10 G's that you just were looking at and you're like,
Yeah.
man, I really hate this money. I want to get rid of it right now. You could do that.
but just a pair of white, red, and black Air Jordan ones you can probably get for what's MSRP on those?
I
think you-
180.
Or like that Lost and Found where they
Yeah.
kind of recreated the Chicago. I think those like
Yeah,
500
$180.
bucks. Oh, 180?
Yeah.
Damn, those
Yeah,
might
dude,
be-
nobody cares.
Nobody
anymore
cares about shoes
sneakers
anymore,
Right
you're right.
now. It's a great
It's
time.
a great time to buy
to
some
buy
cool
when
shoes.
none of us feel like buying.
We're all
the
just
best
like,
time.
I have too many. What am I doing?
So
Anyway.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
So it's a question we ask every guest about their shoes. I think I know the answer, but actually, Nick and Bjorn, if you can explain the question, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So we usually talk about sneakers, and we talk about rap music, and we also like to talk about trucks. So in the truck community, if you have a big, dumb, jacked up truck, or fun, whatever, whatever you want to call it, but you never take it off road. It's called a pavement princess.
Okay, sure.
It's not the most endearing term. I have one on the back of my car, and I love it. It's called the pavement princess if you just are like, you have this big truck and don't really use what it's for. Also, in rap music, where they're constantly talking about blowing women's backs out, which I think is a totally unreasonable thing, but we thought it was funny. And so
we just laughed about it one time because we're like, to me, that doesn't sound like a solid sales pitch.
No.
Yeah.
It's like just like offering injury.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like.
Also, it seems like a very real thing. I've never had it happen, but it feels like if you're like face down, ass up, and someone's push on your lumbar and you're not stretched
properly.
You're right.
Like,
yeah, if you haven't been doing your
it could
yoga.
totally tweak. I had it tweaked back the other day. It was off for like a week. It was rough.
It's not a good sales pitch.
No.
This poor lady's going to have to miss a couple
Like
days
my
of
back
work.
should feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
like, throw it a massage, please.
Yeah. It's not. I don't mind like beating up the puss because I'm like, well, you're not actually gonna beat it up. I might be like, ow, you beat it up, but like it's fine. But there's a very good chance you're gonna fuck up my back if we do this wrong.
Back is the real. So we always like to ask about your sneakers.
Okay.
Are these a pavement princess?
Okay.
Or are you gonna blow the back out on them?
Of these, the ones I brought?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, these have been blown out.
They've been blown.
These have been blown. The back's been blown out.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So that means
Yeah, I guess.
you get a blow the back out sticker.
Oh, thank you.
And then also you can also have a pavement princess
thank
you.
sticker
Yeah.
too as well. So
To put on your truck.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you have anything you wanted to plug before we get out of here?
No.
Don't you have a new
Don't you have a
show?
new show?
Oh yeah.
We're rolling.
Don't ever co-host a show with. I'm the worst person. So I have two shows. The second Wednesday of every month, there's a show at Old Town Pizza on MLK upstairs that I host with Dylan Jenkins and Jeremiah Coughlin, and that's the second Wednesday, and then the second Saturday is Everyone Hates You, which is roast show at Funhouse Lounge.
Oh, love it.
That I do with Brian Bixby. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the pod. I think that's going to do it. Did we have any sponsors or anything?
yeah, well, first before I get into that, please make sure to follow us. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all social under Size 10 Podcast. We really appreciate it. Leave your feedback, good or bad. Either way, it helps us. So we'd appreciate that. But we did get a new sponsor. I am actually just firming up right now. They just emailed back. So they're going to come out with a new movie, Brokeback Mountain 2. The Cowboy and Me, starring Tim McGraw. So that's coming out in theaters next spring. So be on the lookout for that. We are going to be sponsors of that. So The Cowboy and Me, Brokeback Mountain 2. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.